An overcast day here in Little Rock as we wrap up Labor Day weekend. Both the rain and the sun seem to be enjoying the holiday because we didn't see much of either today. But now that we're wrapping up, the sun trying to at least make a bit of a spectacular sunset here as we wrap up the holiday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Willie Hoyt alongside Chief Meteorologist Tom Brannon.
Good evening.
We got the cloudy part out of the way, and now we have to start looking ahead to how much. We're going to talk about fall weather now? Are we going to really kick that into gear?
Well, no. I mean, define fall weather. For me, fall weather is temperatures in the 70s and dry and low humidity. That's not necessarily going to be the case. Hopefully it'll cool off a little here by the end of the week. Let's cover what's going on with our radar. We do have a disturbance moving through, and it was expected to bring some very light rainfall amounts, and that's what we have. Some light showers are falling outside. This disturbance is going to take its time moving across the state later on tonight. Our current numbers with cloud cover, we're at 77. Our high today, Little Rock did manage 80. Searcy is at 80, Jonesboro 87. They had a lot of sun here, and they had enough to warm them to the middle 80s in Texarkana, 86 down in southwest Arkansas. Our numbers falling back from the upper 70s into the middle 60s tonight. We are going to see more cloud cover tonight, but over the next 3 days, I think more sunshine. It's supposed to feel this way. This is seasonable when you head into first part of September, middle to upper 80s, partly cloudy skies, a few spotty showers on Tuesday. Now, there are some signs that as we hit the weekend that stronger boundary is going to be coming our way, and that could impact some of your plans for the Razorback Red Wolf game. I'll explain in a few minutes.
All right, Tom, thank you. The Labor Day celebrations turning tragic, though, on Lake Hamilton as a boat crash killed 3 people with 3 others injured. It happened around midnight in the busy channel above Garvin Gardens when a fast-moving boat hit a party barge with about 10 people on board. At least 3 people had to go to the hospital, and those who survived managed to swim to docks off Parkwood Drive. Divers pulled 2 more victims' bodies from the water this afternoon, and wardens with the Arkansas Game and Fish are leading the investigation. In North Little Rock, investigators also searching as they work to find the person who shot a man early this morning. It happened in the 300 block of East Bethany just before 3 a.m. When officers got there, they found that man suffering from at least 1 gunshot wound. He died after being rushed to the hospital. So far, no suspects been named. Police continue their investigation, and they're asking anyone who might have information to call the North Little Rock Police Department. In Faulkner County, the sheriff's office investigating a former detention center lieutenant who's accused of misconduct involving a female inmate. Robert Doyle resigned on August 4th ahead of his arrest last Friday. He now faces a 3rd-degree sex assault charge as well as 2 charges of sneaking things into the jail. He is being held in the Cleburne County Detention Center. Left-leaning organizations and labor unions holding demonstrations across the country on this holiday, including at least one Democratic enclave here in Arkansas. Bo Russell from our sister station in Fayetteville followed one of those protests.
Hey, I'm here on the sidewalk of Joyce Boulevard, and behind me there are hundreds of demonstrators. Now, when we started, it was around 200. That number has grown since we've been here, and they're part of a national movement today of people coming out and demonstrating, trying to send a message to the Trump administration. Now, a number of organizations are working together today, including the National Education Association and Indivisible, who's organizing this event here in Fayetteville. Now, in Arkansas, there are groups gathering in Fort Smith, Harrison, Hot Springs, Fayetteville, Jonesboro, and Little Rock. I spoke to a demonstrator today who told me about some of the challenges that she faces as an after-school care worker.
So not only at the state level are things changing a lot, and kids are not getting to go to after-school care because their parents can't afford it.
Among the demonstrators here is a grad student from the University of Arkansas who told me he's actually running for Congress because of his issues that he has with the Trump administration.
Bo Russell reporting there, and like he said, organizers hope to stage more than 1,000 protests nationwide today. Getting a look at some of the scenes in Pasadena, California, Boston, and Chicago. Each featured elected officials speaking alongside labor union leaders. The White House responded and defended the president's policies by stating, quote, "No other president has done more for the working class." Chicago is also seeing growing unease as more signs point to National Guard troops potentially patrolling its streets. Today, President Trump used social media to suggest the Guard is needed in the nation's 3rd largest city to try and help eliminate crime. It all comes on the heels of last week's CDC shakeup and a warning for from others who have left the agency. CBS's Torian Small reports on the holiday headlines coming out of Washington.
No federal troops in the city of Chicago.
At a Labor Day event, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson blasted the Trump administration's possible plans to send in the National Guard to the Windy City to help reduce violent crime.
We're going to defend our democracy in the city of Chicago.
Before leaving the White House to play golf, President Trump posted on social media Monday praising the mayor of Washington, D.C., where he deployed National Guard troops and urged officials in Chicago and other cities to do the same. The Trump administration is also receiving new pushback in the wake of last week's shakeup at the CDC. Following the firing of CDC Director Susan Menarez and departure of several other top officials, 9 former directors and acting directors of the agency wrote an op-ed published in the New York Times Monday. The group of both Republicans and Democratic appointees raised concerns about Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s oversight of the department and the CDC, writing, quote, "We are worried about the wide-ranging impact that all these decisions will have on America's health security," adding, quote, "This is unacceptable and it should alarm every American regardless of political leanings."
They want to see Congress exercise its oversight authority over HHS, and that would include calling a hearing to interrogate Secretary Kennedy as to what is happening and why.
The CDC upheaval comes ahead of a meeting scheduled for later this month of the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, which makes recommendations to the CDC about vaccines. Torian Small, CBS News, the White House.
Now, the Senate GOP Health Committee chair is calling for that meeting to be postponed. Back in June, Kennedy dismissed all 17 of the committee's outside experts and replaced them with 7 new members, at least 4 of whom have expressed some skepticism about vaccines. And about that, a new FDA guidelines are creating confusion over how to get the updated COVID-19 vaccine. Those guidelines approve the shots for seniors and anyone older than 6 months with a condition that makes them at high risk for a severe COVID infection. Those people could walk right into a pharmacy and get the shot, but for everyone else, you might need to consult with your doctor first. That's according to the health secretary. 16 states are also still waiting on CDC approval, and that could come later this month. Defenders of the public health establishment say this confusion is all avoidable.
There is no new data on safety and efficacy that would warrant a change in guidance. What's changed is the process. So instead of having a transparent, science-driven policymaking process, what we are seeing now is vaccine policy being made by political fiat and even being announced on social media rather than through normal processes.
Moderna and Pfizer both say their vaccines will be available in the coming days, though it's also unclear if all insurance companies will cover the shots or if pharmacies will require proof of a medical condition. It's also that time of year where people start to get their flu shots, but here's the question. Is it too early to roll up your sleeve? Let's verify.
The signs are everywhere, and if you haven't received a text about getting your flu shot, I got to tell you, it's coming, so just wait. The question is it too early to get your flu shot? Let's verify. Our sources are Morgan Payne of Novant Health Primary Care, the CDC, and FDA.
Typically, the flu shot gives you about 6 months of protection or immunity against the flu. So we're looking to try to cover the peak season the best we can.
This is a look at flu activity over more than a 40-year time span. The CDC data shows the highest months, December, January, February, and March. But peak flu season is usually considered for the 6 months of October through March.
If you get it in September, it can be a little early because you sometimes lose that immunity in March.
The Food and Drug Administration dedicated this page to getting the flu vaccine. Citing the CDC, the recommendation is people ages 6 months and older get a flu vaccine ideally by the end of October. And if you wait until after October, the vaccine will still be beneficial and provide protection. The CDC estimated 470,000 people were hospitalized with the flu last flu season, with 28,000 flu-related deaths. Health providers point to these numbers as a reminder the flu is not a cold.
Flu can be pretty significant. Even in young, healthy individuals, generally we see 7 days of symptoms and feeling pretty badly for most of that.
So we can verify it is too early to get a flu shot if you want to be covered for the 6-month flu season. The best month to get your flu shot is October.
Well, fair season is here. One of the oldest in the state is getting prepared. We'll show you everything you need to know out of Saline County coming up after the break.
Roly, if Faith were here today, she would not be very happy with me because I've put it into summer. Meteorological fall begins today, and she's a summer girl, right? I know a lot of you love summer as well. Astronomical fall begins September the 22nd. Still has a little ways for that, but it's felt a little fallish outside. Temperatures are warming up. I've got your forecast next.